Grandma?
No.
It's one. We do one of the little ones. No. Okay. So this is Bernie.
And so where's Irving should be in the picture then too? Here he is.
There's Irving.
Oh, that's Irving.
It actually looks like Eleanor.
It does look a lot like Eleanor.
It looks like Eleanor.
does.
Wow.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They all look alike.
So one of these is Udala, one of these is Adele, and one of these is my mom. One of these,
Wait,
unless it's her. Is that
how about Sheila? Do you have
No,
Sheila?
Sheila's there.
There's Sheila.
I think that's
You think that's Leon on the left?
Oh yeah, that does look like that.
The,
Yeah.
the lip skipped over me and Ellen and landed right on Olivia's face.
Where are you?
Jamie,
Jamie,
and
right here.
Rita,
Rita.
and Matthew and Rita.
Yeah, here's my right here. Okay, they're okay. They're on the chart. They can stay. Thank you. Thank you.
Right there.
So that means that Marco Zimmerberg is my grandfather's sister. That's what it looks like.
And they only had my grandmother, Nina's mother, Meryl, had Nina and David, and here Michael, and here, and Michael has 4 children in Israel. And this
That's why he's pushed over so far, because of Michael's children over here.
Right. and Malka, she died in the Holocaust. She was a sister who never survived. Right?
I think what we see here in this family is really a story told many, many times in many, many Jewish families.
It means we're reconnecting again, even if it's in a short time. The spirit is there, and the warm feeling of seeing your children, and especially their children.
His name is Edward Coe. However, they call him Smacky for reasons unbeknownst to me. And this young fella, his name is Henry Buster, and they call him Buster, but Buster is his real middle name. How old are you, Buster? Tell the man in the camera.
6.5. Henry Buster Coe.
And where's Emma?
And Emma Apatow. Look. Yes, we did find her. I think when all is said and done, that's what counts in life, is family. You know, as I get older, I put more value on family and become more connected, much more connected with my family and with Aaron's family. But I see where the value lies.
It's wonderful to have a family, relatives, and this is a wonderful occasion. And to see everybody that you haven't seen for a long time.
Well, the food looks great, and it looks like we're going to have a great afternoon. down, there are no place cards. It's Ziegleman, Zimmerberg, Eiger, and friends. You're about to see an excellent film, so please take your seats.
For the record, my name is Ron Steinman. I'm a filmmaker, a journalist. With a lot of people, I'm responsible for You Bumble My Heart Remembers, the film that was on PBS. I think that many years ago, Aaron Ziegleman, who's responsible for this get-together, thought he may have been the last of the Zieglemans. Now take a look at this crowd, and that's far from the truth. And it's to the tenacity and desire of Aaron to bring family together as few men do. Back in 1988, Aaron had another family reunion, at which time there was a film made. And he gave me that film, and we cut it down to a reasonable size for a gathering like this. It runs 19 minutes. Some of you will recognize yourselves in that film. Others may recognize your relatives. And we're going to start the film. So if we could roll the film, please keep in mind this took place 16 years ago, and here it is.
The Bible says when Joseph was stopped and asked, "What are you doing?" he said, "I'm looking for my brothers." To be a Jew, you look for your brothers and your sisters and your cousins. In a generation when thousands of people thought they had lost their whole family, here is somebody who discovered that if you look, we've survived, and amazingly enough, all over the world. Mezayin we're here. That was the song the Partisans sang. So I think what Aaron and March have done here really is to show us all a model that we are grateful and thankful to be alive, and we have the vitality and zest of caring. The next step you do is you go and you find your family, wherever they are.
I guess this wasn't just all right from his view.
And who is this?
This is
Eiger, and his mother is Eiger, was
a cousin of
cousin. His mother,
my mother, and his father, brother and sister.
Oh, that's Elsa.
That's my grandmother.
All right, I'm meeting all these people. Let's say I go to the hotel, and all of a sudden, in the Salisbury Hotel, there's like 100 people there. They don't all seem like they're family all of a sudden. You know, you can't just say, okay, I met you yesterday, you're my long-lost cousin, and, you know, let's go run down the beach together.
I don't know how many families, Jewish families, survived World War II, sort of reconvened in this way. The reunion has a sort of historic value beyond its value to the Zieglemans and the Eigers and the Zimmerbergs.
Everybody's coming together, and people are meeting one another, and I guess that's what it's all about. I'm seeing people that I haven't seen before, and it's a whole new experience.
well, look, it's a happening, you know, it's a happening.
I was at the airport. Until then, it was an idea. It was still an idea. But when I was at the airport and I saw all those people pouring off the plane and like my grandmother running up to people that I'd never even heard of and kissing and hugging, and then it became something more.
Yeah, well, hold our grandmother between us. I think that would be. She's why we're here, actually. That's right. That's her mother.
touching to hear people thank my parents and say what a wonderful thing it is to bring everyone together like this, and how no one but Aaron Ziegleman could pull such a thing off. It's his family. He wants it.
Tree. Unfortunately, by the time they decide to do the tree, people have died and they're going through records. So we're very fortunate, and especially for the young children here, when they'll want to know their family history, it will be there. And of course, this video will also tell them about their roots. I just want to point out that not everyone here is a Eiger. A man who's not an Eiger, but someone I respect. That's Joseph Carpus. That's his wife. I will have her son tell you a little bit about the Carpus. No? Okay. They survived the war by having fake baptismal papers. She was pregnant when the Germans came. A Gentile gave them a pair of horses, right, and told them, go east till the horses drop. And they lived through the war as their real name is not Carpus. That's the name they took on. But was this Numen? Rivka, but was Weizfrucht. But they kept their name, so Ruth, I never quite knew how your mother came to Israel from Obama. I think we'd be very interested in that.
My mother came here like many other people came to Israel. One person arrived first and brought out the rest of the family, those who were lucky enough to be alive before the World War II broke out. And during the last few years, I came across an article I think it was in Yediot Ahronot, telling about a person in America, Aaron Ziegleman, who decided to dedicate a lot of his time, effort, and money to commemorating the life of the Jews, not the death of the Jews, but the life of the Jews in Lubomel as a symbol of life of the Jews in Eastern Europe. And as Aaron mentioned, I was very happy to donate to that exhibition. The only thing that I had in my possession from my mother. I don't know, I think that the Jews in Lubomel had very little. And the only thing that my mother managed to bring out were these candlesticks, which I light every Friday night and every holiday. I consider it a great pleasure and privilege to be friends of yours, Aaron, and of course of Marjorie. Thank you.
Well, let me ask you this. Can someone also explain how they're here? Why is it that certain Eigers came to America and other Eigers are in Israel? How does that happen? I really never got the stories. Can you tell us?
My uncle, Shlomo Eiger, came came to Israel as a chalutz, I think 1922. Then he came to Tel Aviv, and he was working in Tel Aviv, and he asked his sister to come to Israel. And his sister, that's my mother, came to Israel, and she married here my father, who actually came from Lebanon.
I want to add something about my mother, that she's the Eiger, and to add to what my brother Aaron said. I said it in Hebrew, it's easy for me. אמי נולדה בפולניה, בגבול הרוסי-פולני.
My name is Ziegleman, and I approve of this message. Margie and I welcome the Eigers, the Zieglemans, the Zimmerbergs, and friends. It's possible that a few visitors to the museum have infiltrated and claim to be relatives. Until the DNA equipment arrives, they can stay. Today we may have likely the 10th generation from Abram Ziegleman, born in 1791, and his son Nuta Yitzchak, born in 1836, and his sons Chaim Ziegleman, born in 1867. David Ziegleman, born in 1862, and Abram Ziegleman, born in 1860. Some of them may be the grandparents of some of us here. For the Zimmerbergs, we go to Pinchas Zimmerberg, born in 1830, and his children, Ruchel, Chava, Israel, Jonah, Mordche, and Yitzchak David, born in the 1860s and 1870s. As for the Eigers, we are, or claim to be, the descendants of the very famous Rabbi Akiva Eiger, born in 1720. Our genealogist is here. I told Alex, you must make the connection with the Eigers to the Rabbi Akiva Eiger, no matter what the cost. And down to Shlomo Michal Eiger, 1844, and the grandparents of some of us here today, Betzalel Eiger, Aaron Eiger, Yoska Eiger, and Zalman Eiger. Unfortunately, Fege Eiger and Yankel Eiger have no descendants since they were all murdered in the Holocaust. Today, Margie and I have two very good friends from the college. That's Reconstruction Rabbinical College, that we devote our time and energy. And I'd like to introduce the president, the current president of the college, Rabbi Dan Ehrenkraus. Dan, would you come up, please?
First, I want to thank you all for allowing me to join your family, as it were, for this occasion. I was moved as I was standing in front of your family tree to think how similar my family tree would look to yours. And that is that many in my family would have, as does yours, next to their names, killed in the Shoah, killed in the Holocaust. In Psalms we read that Elohim Moshiv Yechidim Baita, that God returns those who are alone, those who are solitary, to their families. On this family tree, many of those names are restored to the family tree. Those names were not known, and due to the good work of many people, those names are now restored to your family tree, restored to the memories of this family, and then to the memory of the Jewish people. This, for us, brings them back home, as it were, the only home that we can give them. So, I want to thank Aaron, all of your relatives, all those who are willing to become part of this extended family, the extended family of the Jewish people, and through your lives, to make the lives of those who came before us a blessing.
And now the former president, David, what an opportunity to call some names and raise some money for the college. But I think we'll get you some other time. I have your names. As a matter of fact, the Reconstructionist movement is going to have a sleepaway camp soon, which I hope many of the children here will be attending. David has devoted many years to the movement. We worked together for many, many years, and here he is, Rabbi David Teutsch.
Aaron should have asked Dan about card calling. It's his job now. I'm really honored to be here, and it's really a sign of Aaron's open-mindedness that he would allow a Yekka to be present at such a gathering. We read in the cycle of the Torah portions about Jacob and his wanderings at this point, and we just finished reading about how he fled after getting the birthright. Of course, we normally have associated the birthright with the family fortune and inheriting the family's wealth and the patrimony of the family. And we know Jacob didn't get the wealth. The wealth actually stayed with Esau. Esau stayed home when Jacob was forced to flee, and he inherited the flocks and the tents and the servants that had belonged to Isaac. Jacob had to go to another land and make his fortune from scratch. And there was a lot of tension between Jacob and Isaac, so it's a wonderful thing to see that at the beginning of this week's Parsha, the two could embrace, not least because each had found his own way in the world, but they then went their separate ways, and only at the end of this week's Parsha do they come back together to bury their father Isaac. But in that moment, you again encounter the extraordinary power of family. No matter how we may feel about this one or that one, it is in family that our memories are connected. It is in family that much of our meaning is anchored. Family has enormous power for us, not only because through the story of family we discover who we are, but also because in the stories that we hear, we discover who it is the people we love wish us to become. And this family in particular has been able to tell its story partly because of Aaron's work with all of you in creating the Lubomel exhibit, not only about itself, but in some profound and powerful ways about a world that was lost, and about its legacy and about what it can mean to the whole Jewish people. When we raise our glasses and we say L'chaim, to life, we are saluting the linkage of generations, we are saluting that memory, and we are saluting the impulse to redeem the world in which we live. And it is with that thought that I say to you all, L'chaim.
Klosmer will now give us some music, and those who want to dance, you're welcome.
representatives of the Eiger, Ziegleman, and Zimmerberg family. Esther Eiger, my first cousin. Oh, Esther Eiger Bleff. I think she was my first love as a teenager. Esther Eiger Bleff will represent the Eiger family. Esther, please.
Thank you, Aaron. My Zayda, Reb Aharon Eiger, was 36 years old when he left his family and came to America. My Baba Chava remained in Lvivna, and she was 34, and there were 5 children. Meanwhile, back in New York on the Lower East Side, my Zayda Aharon, a Talmud Chacham, a Talmudic scholar, struggled in a coal cellar to earn a few dollars a week. Not until 1920 was my Zayda able to bring my father to America, and it was not long after that Reb Aaron Eiger set out to find a good shidduch for Shlomo. We took several trains to get to New Jersey, where the ship was docked. And as they walked toward us, I saw how pretty my Aunt Esther was, and I was struck by Luba and Aaron's red cheeks. I thought they must have lived in the country, because the children on Attorney Street and even in the Bronx did not have red cheeks. They came home with us on the subway, and I couldn't take my eyes off Aaron's coat. It had curly gray fur on the inside. For my Aunt Esther, her children and her brothers were everything. And I've never seen brothers so devoted to a sister. They had to make up for the years of separation, and later, when their worst fears were realized, they comforted each other, but the pain would always remain. As children, we were shielded from the suffering, and we did have happy times together. During the summer of 1939, we spent several weeks on a farm in Colchester, Connecticut. My mother told me the total cost of this vacation was $50. Throughout the years, there has been a family bond with Esther, Luba, and Aaron that is still very strong. Though we had to leave the Bronx, we still spent every Pesach together. I remember Luba, Aaron, and I, and my sister, Bracha, we used to have a race singing Chad Gadya at the end of the Seder. In later years, though we saw one another less frequently, still that old closeness and affection, the shared memories remain. I think Zayda Aharon and Baba Chava would have been happy with the accomplishments of their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Among them were and are Talmudic scholars, Balei Tzedakah, philanthropists, successful businessmen in real estate and finance, professionals in medicine, law, healthcare, speech therapy, venture capitalists, writers, and decorators, a diverse group with a number of things in common: love of family, love of the Jewish people, love of Israel, and love and gratitude for America. In conclusion, I want to thank Aaron and Margie for getting us all together today. I want to congratulate you, Aaron, for all your efforts to memorialize Lvivna and all the Jews who lived and died there. I want to salute my wonderful Tante Esther for her steadfast devotion and love of family, for her strength through so much tragedy. May God grant her many more years of nachas from all the Eigers, Zieglemans, and Zimmerbergs.
remember that fur-lined coat. In 2 days, they said, get rid of it. You look like a Maki. And they took away my fur-lined coat and bought me a Mackinac. Some of you may know what a Mackinac was. To represent the Zimmerbergs, I'd like to call upon Dr. Hyman Zimmerberg.
Okay, first, let me give everybody regards of the Wojciks of the Zimmerberg clan in Brazil. I got an email from Ricardo that tomorrow is his father's 80th birthday, and he's not feeling well, so the Wojciks decided to stay home and to celebrate Paulo's birthday tomorrow. My name is Hyman Zimmerberg, and I'm the patriarch, I guess, of the Zimmerberg clan. Maybe the only honor that I'll get here with aging. But I first met Aaron Ziegleman in 1938, when he and his lovely sister, Luba, now Lillian, and his lovely mother Esther came to visit our house. Now, from the previous get-togethers and the documentary that Aaron had made, we've learned about life in Lubon, both before the Holocaust, during the Holocaust, and after the Holocaust. And what I'd like to talk to you about very briefly is some of the things that went on in America during the 1920s and the 1930s. There was nothing more important to my father, and nothing that made him happier when he was able to bring over another family member, essentially rescue him from Eastern Europe. So he was particularly immensely overjoyed when the Zieglemans were able to come over here. Now, it's easy to think of the family here as the EZZ family, but things were far from easy in those days because it was during the Depression years, mostly. So in addition to raising funds and to talk about bringing people over, another important aspect was in trying to find occupation and find work for those who did come over. So the Zim brothers provided employment, which was just as important as being brought over to this country, and quite a number of relatives. But I think I was the only relative that they employed, that they had to fire in order to keep the business from going under. But that'll have to wait for the next family get together, that story.
To round out, the next representatives are going to be directly from Israel. Aviva Ziegleman Geffen and Yaakov Ziegleman, they're going to do a duet. They came in from Israel just this week.
Dear Marjorie and dear Aaron, since the day Aaron told us that he was organizing another family reunion, we have been walking around with smiles of happiness. Even more than that, the color of my 1988 returned to our faces. No one can ever forget the most moving meeting 16 years ago here in New York, and now here we are again. Some of our family members are not together with us anymore. I'm sure that if my father, David Ziegleman, were alive today, he would be standing here together with me and saying, Aaron is a real Ziegleman.
Aaron and Marjorie were the family gardeners. Aaron takes care both the roots as well as the branches of our tree. The roots, by watering them with film and presentations about life in Zimmerberg, and the branches by what wonderful family meetings of today. In the name of all the Zieglemans, we wish to express our most honest thanks, and we hope that we shall have the pleasure of seeing you all again at the next reunion. לשנה הבאה בירושלים, which means to us, Aaron, next year again here in New York. Best wishes for a successful event, and thanks so much for the warmth and love you both hug us with. Thank you, the Israeli Ziegleman branch.
We may surprise you. Maybe next year or the next reunion will be in Jerusalem. We have the family trees of the Zimmerbergs and the Eigers, and on your way out, we will hand it to representative families. I urge all the young people here to save that chart, because you have no idea how difficult it is to get your family tree once people have passed, and it's very hard work. I think from now on you're just going to have to add your own additions to the chart, so please save them.
I think I'm going to take one for the family.
Okay, wait a minute, you're an Eiger.
We can be, whatever you want us to be.
Oh, actually.
Wait, did you give one to
Yeah, you're an Eiger. You're a Ziegleman.
Wonderful. It's unbelievable. And for Aaron to do such a tremendous thing, we all appreciate it so much. Aaron and I were born in the same town, in Lubomel, Poland. So this is a special treat for me, seeing all our relatives and friends, and my children are here, my grandchildren. It is a special treat. Thank you so much, Aaron and Marjorie. This is wonderful.
Many people came in from California, from Florida, from Israel. One couple flew in on the red eye and is going back on the red eye. That's quite a nice trip. Hi, Zimmerberg.
Am I eligible?
Sure. Here's a list of names and addresses if you ever need them. Hi. Who are you?
Zim.
Zim what?
Aileen Zim.
Okay. Can I see your ID, please?
This is great. Just look at my father, and that's my ID.
It's pretty exciting to be able to spread out and feel good with a wide variety of people. There's families who are Orthodox, there's families who are conservative, there's families that are intermarried, young kids with old kids, just to make it a natural thing without even really realizing we were doing it. Our kids are very family oriented. Even if they haven't seen a cousin for 10 years, they'll bond with them immediately. They're always asking, how many cousins do I have? Very emotional. I cry over everything. So it's been an emotional day for me.
I'm so groggy.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful.
Are you an Eiger or a Ziegleman?
Yes.
What up?
Yes.
I think
They got it. The kids have it.
Okay, here you go.
Yep.
Have all three in here? No. You're Zimmerberg, that's all. Can only handle one.
At first I thought about to build a new house, to have a wall to stretch it all out, but somebody said, no, just go around the room.
This is just amazingly wonderful. We were here 16 years ago. I didn't have my family with me, my 3 boys. They were just a dream, but my wife was with me then. And it just blew me away, I have to say, when I saw how long my children's generation is on the family tree. You take a look at the family tree and you look at how long that generation is, and you see how amazing the strength of life is. It is really fabulous.
I thought it was spectacular. I think the warmth that was felt in the room was marvelous. The speakers were marvelous. The food was good. And who knows, maybe the next time it will be in Jerusalem.